Ethereum's initial founders had two different philosophies about the best way to develop cryptocurrencies. Some believed in the idea that code is law. What happens on the blockchain stays on the blockchain, for better or for worse, while others believed in mutability in the name of innovation. In other words, if something bad happens on the blockchain, steps should be taken to fix it. Due to an event known as the DAO Hack, both of these philosophies were put into question and a major decision had to be made. From this decision birthed Ethereum Classic. On this episode of Crypto Talk Tuesday, we discuss how Ethereum Classic came to be and the differences between it and Ethereum. Let's get scholar. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Mario Johnson, founder and president of Crypto Scholars LLC. And as I said before, tonight we're going to talk about Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Because one thing I've noticed and one thing I've gotten a good bit of questions on as of late is what's the difference between the two? Like some people view Ethereum Classic basically as a cheaper version of Ethereum. Like, oh man, I get to buy Ethereum at a much cheaper price. And I wanted to do this episode to kind of, clear up and kind of, I guess, go over the distinct differences between the two and also give a little bit of history as to how the two came into existence, how, we started from Ethereum and kind of split off into having what we know now as Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, which one's the original, who came first. So, as with always, and I've been remembering, so I've been doing really good, guys. I have been remembering to give my disclaimer in the beginning because, as always, what we do here is provide educational content, to kind of keep you informed, to kind of help you with doing your own research in regards to the cryptocurrency market. So, got to read my disclaimer because, we don't want to have those issues. All right, so the information contained herein is for informational and or educational purposes only. Nothing shall be construed to be financial, legal, or tax advice. The content of this video is solely the opinions of myself, and I am not a licensed financial advisor or a registered investment advisor. Keep in mind, people, that trading cryptocurrencies possess a considerable risk of loss, and neither me nor Crypto Scholars LLC offer any guarantee of a particular outcome. So now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and dig into the jumping. I guess we're gonna dig into the weeds, jump into the pool, whatever slogan that they say in regards to getting started, like really trying to lay this thing out. So the first thing I want to do was kind of talk about the original co-founders of Ethereum. Who started it, and how did it come about? What role did they play? And to do that, I found a really good article on Decrypt that basically gave a breakdown of the Ethereum co-founders. If I'm not mistaken, there were 8 of them. So we'll start with the one who is the most known. Everyone knows who he is, Vitalik Buterin, who is also currently running the existing Ethereum platform known as ETH. And also, too, Ethereum Classic, its symbol, coin symbol is ETC. So if you hear me say ETH, that just know I'm talking about current Ethereum. And if I say ETC, I'm talking about Ethereum Classic. So just off the top, those would be how you would identify the two. And I think I got to put an article up. I don't think I pulled it up, but I found an article too that talked about Ethan Allen. We'll get to that a little later on. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but it talked about how people were confusing the stock symbol ETH, which is Ethan Allen's stock symbol, with Ethereum. So they were buying a bunch of Ethan Allen stock, saying how it was thinking that it was Ethereum's, and that was awesome. I was loving that. So, but going back into it, so again, looking at Ethereum's co-founders from the beginning, we have Vitalik. His role was the chief architect. And he currently is the only one of the Ethereum co-founders that's still actively working and developing on the Ethereum platform, the current Ethereum platform as we know it. Again, the most popular one. He was recently in the news for the dump that he did of the Shiba Inu token, and he turned around and also burned the remaining tokens. So he kind of did two good things. Like initially, people were, and I think he did that as a way to basically say, hey, stop making me a part of your scam coins. Stop making me a part of the coins that I am not, that I have nothing to do with. So initially he burned, he dumped all the coins, as many as he could, on the market, draining the liquidity out of the Uniswap pool. And he donated those to great charitable causes. I think someone like India's Human Rights Foundation. Don't quote me on the actual name, but he donated the money. I think it was like $5 or $6 billion he donated. And then a lot of people mad because, of course, it tanked the price of the Shiba Inu token. But as another act of good faith to show that he wasn't truly trying to burn the investors who had put some money into it, he went ahead and burned the remaining tokens that he had. So it kind of saved the price overall, kind of helped the investors hopefully get out of that token. Because it has no real world use case. It's nothing more than just riding the back of the Dogecoin hype. So hopefully people took that opportunity to find some liquidity somewhere and get out of that token and get into something a little bit more, I guess I could say something that has more intrinsic value, something that actually does something that solves a problem. But to continue on, from there, we have this guy, which I'm going to totally butcher his name. So I'll say Mahai Alisai. I said that completely wrong. Don't get mad at me on that one. But he was one of the other co-founders. You don't really hear much about him. He's kind of going on about his way. Got into some other ventures, but he's not active in the Ethereum Classic space or Ethereum at this point. Another one of the co-founders, Anthony Delorio. And as we continue on, you got Amir Shetrit. I probably said that wrong, but Amir Shetrit. And another one of the well-known co-founders is Charles Hoskinson, who is also the founder of Cardano. If you guys didn't know that, he is the actual founder of the Cardano blockchain. He runs a company called IOHK, which it used to be Input Output Hong Kong, but he recently created Input Output Global. So now I think it's IOHG. But he's one of my favorites. I'm a big fan of Charles Hoskinson. And I'm also full disclosure, I am actively investing in Cardano because I truly believe in what it is they're doing. I believe in their roadmap, and I see some great things coming out of the Cardano blockchain. So Charles Hoskinson, if you guys didn't know, he was one of the original co-founders of the Ethereum blockchain. So as we continue to go down, you have another, he's not widely known, but he's known amongst the cryptocurrency arena, Dr. Gavin Wood. He is the founder of the Polkadot blockchain. And they recently released some news about the parachains auctions beginning to go live. I don't remember the exact date, but they are. That is something that's definitely about to happen. So, Dr. Gavin Wood, I think his role with Ethereum, I think he coded the actual functional version of Ethereum. He was the CTO, if I'm not mistaken, of the original Ethereum project. And since then, he's going on to do something amazing with Polkadot. I'm also invested in Polkadot because, again, smart people do smart things and great people do great things. And him, same thing with Charles Hoskinson. They've moved on and they're doing some amazing things. As we continue down, you got Jeffrey Wilkie. I hope I said that correctly. Not really familiar with him at all. Haven't heard of his name in regards to doing any additional projects. And last but not least, you have Joseph Lubin. Joseph Lubin was very instrumental in regards to the Ethereum project, and he's actually going on to do some great things. He started the company Consensus. He started them, and he also funny. He also started the Decrypt, which is actually the website that I'm reading this article from. He was one of the people who started that. That I don't know if it's a blog or what you would kind of call it. It says it's a editorially independent Decrypt. So I guess it's something to that effect. So those are your 8 co-founders of the original Ethereum blockchain, which again is not what we know Ethereum to be, and we're going to continue to dig into that in regards to that. So I did a video a while back on exactly what Ethereum was, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about what Ethereum is, because of the fact that, again, I did a video on that already. So we're kind of already there in regards to doing a deep dive on it. But just in short, I'll take you guys over to Ethereum Foundation's page. And that's on ethereum.org, by the way. So just basically, in short, I always liken Ethereum to being the new supercomputer, the new world supercomputer. It calls itself the world's programmable blockchain, because you can literally program, decentralized apps on top of it. DeFi is one of the biggest buzzwords that's floating around. Also, NFTs. Yes, you can code NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, because they're all ERC20 based tokens. So as I said, Ethereum represents the world's most used blockchain based platform that allows the creation of decentralized apps backed by smart contracts. Now, for those who don't know, a smart contract is a code designed to automatically execute an action, such as automatically transferring funds whenever specific conditions are met. Now, ultimately, what distinguishes Ethereum from the rest is its ability to allow developers to write code that controls digital value, and it runs exactly as programmed. So Ethereum uses a programming language called Solidity. So basically what it does is it allows Solidity developers to come on, and, it's open source code, and they can develop apps and pretty much, off to the races and come up with some really amazing things. Really excited to see what the future holds for Ethereum in that regard. In addition to this, let's see, it says proposed by Vitalik Buterin, again, who was 19 at the time. A 19-year-old kid came up with the idea, came with the proof of concept for Ethereum. It just shows how amazing people can be regardless of what age they are. And then it says the network quickly gained popularity among developers soon after it was launched on July 30th, 2015. And of course, we all know that today it remains one of the most robust blockchains. ETH is one of the most robust cryptocurrencies, and it continues to expand. It continues to expand its horizons for the public without relying on any single authority. We'll get in a little bit deeper into that as we move on. Now, when we talk about Ethereum Classic, now in short, Ethereum Classic is truly it's the original Ethereum blockchain. It allows for the implementation of decentralized apps, also known as dApps, and smart contracts. Hence, the reason why the current Ethereum blockchain kind of does the exact same thing. Now, with the Ethereum Classic blockchain, it's truly immutable and will never be altered. And for those who don't know what immutability is, it basically means it cannot be changed. When we go back to what I was saying in the beginning about the whole code is law with Ethereum Classic, they'll find ways to correct issues moving forward, but they're not going to change the blockchain. So when we talk about that, that's kind of how, I guess you can say, Ethereum Classic came into being, because of the fact that there was an issue known as the DAO Hack. And DAO, I think we talked about that before when we was talking about in our Ethereum video. But basically, in short, DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. Basically, what that does is that it's kind of like, I want to say it's kind of like a hedge fund or a venture capital type situation, to where startups are picked based on their potentials, and whoever passes the review process will be whitelisted. Now, what happens next after that is that the startup has to gain at least 20% of the votes in order to access any particular type of funding. Now, the votes come from those who hold the DAO tokens. So if you hold any DAO tokens, you're able to vote on a proposed funding, any proposed funding for a potential startup, for a potential group that was looking to develop on the Ethereum blockchain, which is pretty cool. So the DAO concept boasts of simplicity and autonomy, hence DAO gained traction from the public soon after its rollout. Now, in the first month since the launch, the amount of funds raised was more than $150 million, which is incredible. That was pretty awesome. But this is where we run into a problem, because when I mentioned before, we talked about the DAO hack. Now, to exit the DAO, all someone had to do was send a request, and the splitting function that was programmed into the DAO smart contract would then refund the user their Ether, which was deposited in exchange for their DAO tokens. Now, an update to the ledger with the transaction and update the internal token balance. On June 17th of 2016, an unknown hacker or a group of hackers discovered an exploit. They discovered and exploited a security breach in the split function that allowed them to withdraw pretty much an endless amount of Ether from the DAO smart contract. They only withdrew $50 million worth of Ether at the time from the fund, but they could have withdrew all of it, which I think was about a third of the existing Ether in the smart contract. Now, that was about 14% of all of the Ethereum tokens that was on the market at the time. So that was a pretty significant amount that had been deposited into the DAO that could have been drained. So what happened was, again, the hacker or group of hackers, they knew of an exploit. They knew of a way that they could take advantage of the, I guess, the split functions faulty code, and they were off to the races. Now, here's the crazy part about it, and I'm gonna switch back over here real quick. They actually wrote an open letter, um, kind of, I want to say defending themselves, but they basically was explaining how what they did, it played within the rules of the smart contract. So they're basically saying that there was, in their opinion, and I guess the lawyer that they contacted, no criminal activity had taken place. So they literally pinned June 18, 2016. They pinned an open letter, and I'll just read, the beginning of it. But it was amazing. It says, "I have carefully examined the code of the DAO and decided to participate after finding a feature where splitting is rewarded with additional Ether. I have made use of this feature and have rightfully claimed 3,641,694 Ether, and would like to thank the DAO for this reward. It is my understanding that the DAO code contains this feature to promote decentralization and encourage the creation of child DAOs." Wow. I mean, I read the entire thing, but I will read the next paragraph because that's kind of I guess critical also. Now it says, "I am disappointed by those who are characterizing the use of this internal feature as theft. I am making use of the explicitly coded feature as per the smart contract terms, and my law firm has advised me that my action is fully compliant with United States criminal and tort law. For reference, please view the terms of the DAO." And they actually put in the terms within the DAO smart contract. That was pretty smart. Again, not saying what they did was right, but when you play within the rules of the game, people can't get mad at you for knowing how to, I guess, take advantage of those rules to your benefit. So that was very interesting, how they was able to play that out. Now, because of this particular hack, again, a lot of people had a lot of money invested, over $50 million worth. Now, another, I don't want to, before I get too far ahead, I want to say that there was another condition within the DAO smart contract that basically said that the funds of a child DAO were locked for a minimum of 28 days. So even though the hacker or group of hackers, whomever, and by the way, they signed the they signed the open letter. Yours truly, the attacker. Like, come on. Anyway, so basically, what that meant was that even though the hacker had drained the funds from the DAO, they couldn't access those funds for 28 days. So it kind of gave the Ethereum developers a little bit of a window to work within to kind of make a decision on what they were going to do in order to, I guess, correct the issue. Now, they had some choices. They did have some choices, which we're going to talk about. Now, the decision to fork was ultimately based on the fact that the missing $50 million of ETH was still on the hacker's child DAO, which we just talked about, and it couldn't be released for 28 days due to the terms of the smart contract. So the Ethereum community had one of three options. First option was inaction, do nothing. The code is law. And as we know, this approach was an integral component to many of the immutable blockchain believers that supported Ethereum. Now, these supporters were largely the group that stuck around for what later became Ethereum Classic, which, we'll talk about a little bit more in depth here in a minute. But that was their first option. They said, okay, we said code is law. Code is law. We're not going to do anything. And that's going to be that. Now, the second option that they had was to do what's known as a soft fork. Now, a soft fork. I don't know why words be getting me caught up around here, man. I be getting choked up on certain words. It's weird. But anyway, tongue-tied. That's what I was looking for. I be getting tongue-tied with certain words. But a soft fork essentially gave holders the choice of whether to update their software or not. Now, whatever decision they chose, updated and non-updated holders could still interact with the blockchain. So we'll talk about what the third option is, which would prevent them from being able to interact with the old blockchain. Now, let's see. The concept behind the soft fork was to isolate and segregate all the blocks that contain the hacker's transactions, with the goal of stopping them from moving their stolen ether. Now, the soft fork possessed a problem, though, as it would result in a denial of service attack. Now, the DOS attack essentially was a manipulation of how miners are rewarded in the Ethereum ecosystem. For you guys who don't know, the current setup for Ethereum and the Ethereum original was proof of work. And via proof of work, you have to have miners who process transactions, and they also secure the network. And as a reward for doing this transaction processing, as well as network security, they're gifted with additional Ethereum. So this would, in doing a soft fork, it would have, like we said, created a denial of service attack, which would have heavily impacted their reward. Now, the third option is what's known as a hard fork. Now, a hard fork, the main distinction between the soft fork and the hard fork is, like we talked about before, people who are updated and people who aren't updated aren't able to interact with each other. Primarily, basically, we'll have two totally separate blockchains. So you'll have your original blockchain here, and if you have a hard fork, basically you're going to have a split. And actually, I think I have the illustration kind of talking about what a hard fork is. There we go. So Like I said, the primary difference between a soft fork and a hard fork is that it's not backwards compatible, meaning after the hard fork takes place, everyone has an option, has a choice. You either continue on the original chain or you move over to the new chain, but you're not able to operate on both chains. Think of it as similar to, remember you guys when I did a breakdown of Dogecoin, and I said Dogecoin was a fork of Litecoin, which was a fork of Lucky Coin, which was a fork of another coin. I think it was like 5 forks down. So you notice that people who possess Dogecoin can't interact with the Litecoin network, even though it's a fork of Litecoin. Same thing with, it's kind of like the perfect example of how a hard fork works. So whatever the original chain was, you either stick with the original chain or you have to go over to the new chain. And this is what birthed the creation of Ethereum Classic, because of the fact that we now had 2 chains. So um, the overall consensus was that yes, we're going to do a hard fork when it happened. So that the way the hard fork worked in the Ethereum realm was that Ethereum, as we know today, split off from the main blockchain, which is now known as Ethereum Classic, and that split happened around block 1,920,000, which was right before the DAO hack. So, in answering the question, did this resolve the hack issue? It did help to refund everyone who had invested in the DAO using what's referred to as a refund smart contract. So basically, for every 100 DAO tokens, holders were given 1 Ethereum token. Now, Dr. Gavin, I know I started off everything with now. That's funny. I just realized that. Sorry, guys. I just had a moment. But Dr. Gavin Wood, who we talked about, which was one of the original co-founders, who is now the founder of Polkadot, he called this the single most important moment in cryptocurrency history since the birth of Bitcoin. Now, the decision to fork the chain naturally caused a lot of division and controversy. And although the majority voted to fork the blockchain, there was still a small but significant percentage, or roughly about 10%, of people that were loyal to the original blockchain. They were loyal to the code as law, to rule. They felt very strongly about that. And I can understand why. You don't want manipulation happening in something of that effect. Now, the Ethereum chain that forked was able to get back to $50 million. We did talk about that. And hence, now we have the 2 blockchains, the Ethereum Classic versus the Ethereum. So we talk about the differences between the two. And let me get my little image pulled up here. Let's see. Now we do have our key differences. Why do I start everything with now? I'm gonna have to work on that. I hope you guys are catching that, so you guys can start calling it out every time I say it, like now, now, now. Like I'm starting every new sentence with now, or new paragraph with now. I'm gonna start working on that. But one of the, I guess, some of the key differences in Ethereum versus Ethereum Classic is that, as we know, Ethereum currently works on proof of work, same as Ethereum Classic, but Ethereum is moving away from proof of work over to a proof of stake with the ETH 2.0 upgrade that's set to take place hopefully next year. We'll see. We all know that Ethereum has the EIP 1559 coming out in July. So we're getting ready for that, which will definitely help with some of these transaction fees. Jesus Christ, transaction fees. But also, we know that some of the key differences in regards to the coin supply is that Ethereum has no hard cap. And if you guys didn't know that, I'll be one of the first ones to bring it to your attention. There's no hard cap on the amount of Ethereum that can be produced currently. Now, again, with the Ethereum 2.0, there still won't be a hard cap, but there's going to be fee burning. So when we have the burning that's going to take place for the tokens, that essentially, if we base it off of the current transaction volume that's taking place on the network now, it in essence would turn Ethereum into a deflationary asset, because you'll have a lot more burning taking place, the token burning, than token creation. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Ethereum Classic, it has been coded that it will have a hard cap of only 210 million tokens that will ever be in existence for Ethereum Classic. So that's a plus for Ethereum Classic in regards to that, because it does give it a set supply. Now, when we talk about the growth of the network, we know Ethereum is kicking Ethereum Classic's butt, but that's mainly because of the fact that as of right now, there isn't much development happening on Ethereum Classic. And we know Ethereum is being, developed through the roof. Like, it's got thousands of developers working on it. It's got hundreds, if not thousands, of apps currently living live on it. And we also know that because of DeFi, that the transaction volume is just through the roof. Like, Ethereum's kicking ass in that regard. Ethereum Classic, it's kind of fallen into the shadows. It's kind of more of a speculative asset at this point. It's not really being developed in regards to apps or dApps being created to run on top of it, mainly because of the fact that most of the developers have moved over to what we know as Ethereum now. So Ethereum Classic is kind of just falling in the shadows. It's kind of going off by its lonesome. So some of the other differences now, as we talked about, Ethereum that we know of, ETH, is a fork of Ethereum Classic that reversed the results of the DAO hack. That's another vulnerability there because of the fact that it kind of, I want to make sure I say this the correct way, to the best of my knowledge. It presents the question of, if something again major was to happen, will they change it? One thing we always appreciated about the blockchain, those of us in the blockchain community, is the fact that you can't change the blockchain. You're not supposed to change the blockchain. That's what gives it its decentralized functionality. The fact that you have to, especially in a proof of work type of environment, you have to have an enormous amount of hash power. You basically have to control the majority of the hash network in order to um, alter the blockchain. We'll talk about that here in a minute too. It's known as a 51% attack. So this is why I love Bitcoin so much. I know this isn't about Bitcoin, but I'm gonna throw a plug in there for Bitcoin because Bitcoin truly is immutable in that regard. We haven't had any issues like that happen, but staying on topic here. So the two projects are now run by completely different development teams, with the Ethereum Classic team and supporters believing that a blockchain should stay immutable no matter what. And I second that thought. I don't think that things like on that scale, on that level, if you call yourself decentralized, you shouldn't be able to change things that have happened on your chain. So that, to me, that's more of a centralized situation. Now, Ethereum Classic runs on the same protocol, doing a similar function, but it does have some distinct differences in its community. Now, the 10% or so people from the original Ethereum are likely in the shadows, as we talked about. Don't know who they are outside of Charles Hoskinson, the Cardano founder, who has been, him and his company, IOHK, IOHG, have been actively working on Ethereum Classic, especially after what happened to it last August. We'll talk about that there in a second with the 51% attacks, because that was a huge black eye for the project. Well, a huge additional black eye for the project outside of the DAO hack. But Ethereum Classic primarily has value because of the speculator market, which we just talked about, much like many of the other altcoins out there. I did a video last week and I talked about shitcoins, and I originally had Ethereum Classic listed to talk about as being a shitcoin, mainly because of the fact that it has a use case, but it's not being used. So it's kind of fallen down into being more of just a speculator token. It's something that you gamble with. Like, I hope it goes up. If it doesn't go up, damn, I took a chance. You're not going to invest 60, 70, 80% of your portfolio into it because of the fact that you see the adoption that's taking place on it. You see that there are a ton of developers flocking to, put their apps on top of it. You don't see any of that happening currently. So, but after looking at what Charles Hoskinson was doing in regards to trying to keep it developed. He has a dedicated team to it, to my knowledge, and ensuring that it's going to continue to be secured, and they, fixing the issues that they had with the 51% attacks. I decided to leave it off. I'm not going to call it a true shitcoin because it actually did start with a true real world use case. And unfortunately, it started out as the fan favorite. It was the one that everybody was using. And because of something that happened to it outside of its control, it became the black sheep of the its twin was the one that's kind of getting all the love right now. So I decided to leave it off. Now let's talk about Ethereum on the other hand, in which I was kind of giving some of the issues with Ethereum. Now I call Ethereum the supercomputer, but some people liken it more to like a software company that wants to grow and could possibly have more hard forks in the future. That's a bad thing. Now the leaders of the Ethereum community are far more public in nature than those in the Ethereum Classic world. Ethereum primarily has value due to a mix of speculative market, but more so due to its use case scenarios and community support. As we said before, Ethereum, everybody's building on top of Ethereum. If you got a new coin coming out, you're pretty much going to put your coin on top of the Ethereum network because that's where it's going to get the most traction. Outside of Binance Smart Chain, they're starting to pick up a little bit of steam, and mainly because of the gas fees on Ethereum. Like most of the new developers, new coins, especially those scam coins, shit coins as we like to call them, are running over to the ones where people can easily buy them, and it has very low transactions. But anyway, the Ethereum Alliance, for example, consists of billion-dollar firms. We've heard of some of them: Accenture, J.P. Morgan, Microsoft, UPS. This support in turn has added credit to Ethereum over Ethereum Classic because it kind of gives it more of a big backing, definitely a big backing. Now, it can be argued that both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic have some distinct strengths and weaknesses, but the power largely rests with Ethereum, as it has a market cap of roughly, it was pushing 500 billion last week prior to the stupid Tesla guy tweet rampage or whatever he decided to do. But needless to say, it's the number 2 coin for a reason. Definitely the number 2 coin for a reason. So let's talk about what I was telling you guys with that took place with Ethereum Classic in regards to the 51% attacks. So what happened was in August of last year. They had a 51% attack prior to that, but that in August of last year, they got killed. Like they had like 3 51% attacks back to back to back. They was hitting. Somebody figured out something with Ethereum Classic, and they completely took advantage of it. And I think that's why Charles Hoskinson got a lot more active in helping to develop the Ethereum Classic chain because of the fact that they were getting killed. And for those who don't know what a 51% attack is, it's basically when you can take over more than 51%, more than 50% of a particular blockchain's hash power, which basically gives you the ability to change the blockchain. You can pretty much double spin. You can create more coins to issue to yourself. And because you have the majority of the hash power, you basically control consensus of the blockchain. So that gives you the ability to pretty much do whatever the hell you want to do in regards to the creation of new tokens, issuing yourself more tokens on that blockchain, double spending. So that happened to Ethereum Classic. At that point, I thought Ethereum Classic was pretty much going to tank. It's like 1 week they had a 51% attack. The next week they had a 51% attack, and the next week they had another 51% attack. It was almost becoming common knowledge that, oh yeah, Ethereum Classic had a 51% attack. Whatever, who cares? And I think the price dropped all the way down to like $2 at one point when all that was taking place. Don't quote me on that. I have to look at the charts, but they were getting slaughtered. And rightfully so. I'm not gonna invest in a project that isn't secure. Again, going back to Bitcoin and Bitcoin's network, people recently have been talking about the amount of energy that the Bitcoin network uses, and a lot of people don't realize that. When you do a comparison, and I had a chart up there, I might pull it up. Hold on. But when you do a comparison of Bitcoin's, power consumption versus any other power consumption that it takes to protect a network, like you're literally protecting currently $1 trillion worth of value on this network. So yes, it is going to take some energy to protect that network. But when you compare it to that of like the banking system, when you compare it to the energy that's used to mine gold, to do anything, hell, like Raoul Pal said, the United States alone, Americans alone, consume more energy than a small country every Christmas, just from Christmas lights, the Christmas lights usage. I did find a little chart that I had posted that basically kind of gives you a nice little breakdown of the energy used per year. And this chart is a little dated, but it kind of gives you a really good idea of, how untrue it is when people say that, Bitcoin is horrible for the environment, Bitcoin mining or whatnot. And again, look at governments. We're talking at the yearly cost just to protect for governments to operate, $27.6 billion, which we kind of know that the government, the national debt is at around 28 trillion right now, if I'm not mistaken. We got to put up the debt clock. But, when you look at the amount of energy used, it's not even close. It's not even close. And again, when we talk about your money, because again, Bitcoin is fast becoming the settlement layer of transactions. It's not a transaction layer. It's not meant to do everyday, transactions or whatnot, but we'll talk about that in another video. When we talk about the settlement layer, it's securing $1 trillion worth of value. $1 trillion, $1 trillion freaking dollars. Yes. If I have my money, and we talk about the banking system, we all have our money for the most part. I don't anymore, but we all have the bulk of our money in a bank account. You want to know that network is as secure as humanly possible, because that's your livelihood sitting in that bank account. Same thing goes for Bitcoin, and I'm gonna tie this all together in a minute, so you guys know I'm just not, I haven't segued off down some crazy rabbit hole, but I have the majority of my wealth sitting on top of a blockchain network. What, like 40% Bitcoin, 55% Ethereum right now, because of how Ethereum is definitely taken off massively in value. I need this stuff secured. So you don't want a weak network in regards to a 51% attack being able to happen just at will. Imagine if Bitcoin had 51% attacks happen in 1 month. It would take so many. I would get out of Bitcoin without a second doubt, which is why I thought Ethereum Classic was dead, because of the fact that it had 51% attacks happen in 1 month. Now, again, Bitcoin has been in existence for 12 years, and every second of every minute of every hour, every day of every week of every month, every year, people are trying to hack it, and has been unhackable. Thank God for that. So, yes. When we talk about security, again, I'm tying that back to Ethereum Classic. I want my blockchain secure, and I want it to be as decentralized as humanly possible, meaning that no one group, no one pool, no one country, no one anything can orchestrate a 51% attack on that network. So, like I said, when I saw the news about Ethereum Classic, I thought it was dead. I thought it was over. I didn't think it was going to recover from that. Thankfully, like I said, Charles Hoskinson and some others have just stepped in to continue to work on it to help with those types of issues, to bring it to a point to where it can be utilized in that regard. Again, it has to check over Ethereum in the fact that it hasn't been changed. It still remains immutable. They didn't change those transactions. Now, fortunately for them, when those 21 days were up and the funds were released, another group of hackers were able to exploit literally the exact same exploit. And they were able to hack the child DAO of that original hacker, and they were able to steal take those funds back. So it was pretty cool how that all played out. So when you let the free market operate as a free market, the free market always wins. Now, we talk about, I guess, some more of the biggest issues between the two. The biggest issues that I can see, or some of the biggest issues, not the biggest issues, but some of the biggest issues with Ethereum Classic is that it isn't backwards compatible with the Ethereum hard fork. And many players of the Ethereum community are now using Ethereum. They've left ETC altogether, and they're 100% Ethereum now. Now, since Ethereum Classic isn't backwards compatible with the hard forks, users of Ethereum Classic won't be able to enjoy any updates being built on Ethereum, and they won't get to take advantage of the proof of work to proof of stake transition, because again, they can only operate on the Ethereum Classic blockchain. Now, when it comes to Ethereum, I have a few, and I didn't talk about the issues with Ethereum on my Ethereum video, because I just kind of wanted to highlight some of the advantages of Ethereum, because again, I am a big Ethereum advocate, so I am a huge proponent of Ethereum. But some of the issues with Ethereum is that now that the hard fork seal has been broken, it kind of can lead to more hard forks in the future. Who's to say that the Ethereum community can't come together like they did before and make another substantial change? Who's to say that they can't do that? They can make a change in the blockchain. Now, especially when you have a lot of major players working inside of the Ethereum community. And a lot of people don't know this, but Ethereum isn't as decentralized as a lot of people would think. Like Bitcoin, decentralized. Anybody can spin up a Bitcoin node, a full node. Hell, I got a Bitcoin node running in my office, and any person can spin up a Bitcoin node. Ethereum, it operates currently on AWS. Now, as we saw what happened with Parler, AWS can decide to shut you down anytime they want to. Parler had a big issue with that. They were struggling to find someone to host their servers because they were 100% AWS. Ethereum, you have to run it on AWS. And also, there's a company, and I cannot remember the name of the company right now. Gosh, I should have had a note of that because I'm kind of ad-libbing at the moment. I'm going outside of my note. But there's a company that when they went down, Ethereum transactions couldn't process at all. Now, this is outside of AWS. This company themselves had an outage, and none of the exchanges could process Ethereum transactions. So those are key points of failure that definitely need to be thought about in regards to some of the issues with the Ethereum network. Again, AWS is, we all know, it's a company. Hell, I run some servers on top of AWS myself. I love them. My production servers sit in the cloud on AWS, but they're a company. If they get a phone call from someone with a lot of authority, with a lot of pull, saying shut them down, you don't have a choice in that. Say you're getting shut down. So that's something to think about. Hopefully, with Ethereum 2, that changes, so that we can run staking nodes outside of just one particular platform. If I want to build a hardware bare bones system. If I want to put it on my own server, I can do that. Hopefully that comes. I haven't researched that, so I don't know exactly if that's the case or not. But definitely something you guys should be aware of. Odds of it happening, slim to none. But the fact that slim still exists is something you should take into account. So, my final thoughts is that when we talk about Ethereum Classic versus Ethereum, the vast majority of crypto supporters have chosen Ethereum as their favorite. The issues that I noted with Ethereum are only mentioned are severe that should be taken into account, but they haven't dwarfed the project at all. They haven't stopped anything from moving on the project. Hell, haven't even stopped me from investing in it. I did mention my issues with Ethereum Classic, which fully stopped me from investing in it. I was like, all right, we're talking about security. We have attacks that have been happening on the network. Not touching it at all. So, we can kind of draw our conclusions from there. Now, in addition to that, while Ethereum may be looked at as a mutation and a violation of the principles of immutability behind Ethereum, it also serves as a landmark victory for the Ethereum community, being able to come together and handle the worst hack in cryptocurrency history. Um, you know, and I'm actually challenging my notes here. I'm gonna have to look that up because I thought the Mt. Gox hacks was the worst hack in cryptocurrency history. So I'm actually, you guys catching me correct myself live. So I don't think that the DAO hack. The DAO hack was probably the worst Ethereum based hack in cryptocurrency history. But I think the Mt. Gox thing was. I don't think anything is touching that because they still have those coins locked up. Trying to get all that sorted out. Every year they come out with a new press release saying that the lawyers who are handling the Mt. Gox settlement case are close to giving people, distributing the funds back out. But that's a yearly thing. People kind of gotten tired of that by now. And once they do release those funds to those, release the coins back to those people, they are instant billionaires. Trust me, I believe that those people will be, which I guess I would be a little upset about that too, if they have possession, like the government, whoever the government is holding it, that they actually have possession of the coins. They're just trying to figure out a way to disperse them, I guess. I don't know. But when you got billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency at your disposal, you're probably not going to be so quick to issue it back out. And this is just me speculating here. So this is not any insider information or anything like that. It's just that, well, to the people who are the rightful owners, if they die, what happens to it at that point? Again, just speculation. So they might just be playing the waiting game, playing a long game. Either way, we'll see what happens with that. But to me, I feel like that's the biggest hack in cryptocurrency history. Now, I said now again. You see that every time I get ready to go to another paragraph or ready to segue, I'll start it with now. I'm catching myself. I'm gonna work on that. So to continue on, I left the now out. An argument can be made that if not for the hard fork, Ethereum, the platform that allows countless innovative and speculative dApps to run, might not exist today. This is true. As you can see, both camps of the Ethereum Classic and Ethereum argument make solid points. Code is law. But then again, would we be where we are today had we not gone against the code is law mantra? So the sheer market cap size and the strong community behind Ethereum foreshadow a bright future. Ethereum Classic, on the other hand, appears to be slowly shrinking in market cap comparison to the rest of the crypto world. It consists more of a combination of immutable blockchain loyalists, Ethereum antagonists, and general market speculators. So one other thing I'll say is that we've had a recent rise in Ethereum Classic's price. And for me, I think that's more of a, and I think I said this in the beginning, I think that's more so due to the fact that people are confusing it with the cheap Ethereum as opposed to it actually being as opposed to them truly wanting to invest in Ethereum Classic. I think they just see it as a cheaper Ethereum. So when oh, and that's why I got to find that article. Let me see if I got it here. Hold on. How did I close that? I had it pulled up and I must have closed it out, but I'm gonna find it. I'm not gonna let you guys get away from me without showing that article because that is hilarious. But going here, while I'm looking at that, you guys will see. You see that spike there in Ethereum Classic's price? Jumping all the way up from around $30. What was that? A month, not even a month ago. And it just shot up. This probably coincided with Ethereum's spike, where it jumped to, what was it, almost $4,500. This probably coincides with that, where people were rushing, trying to FOMO in to buy Ethereum. And they bought Ethereum Classic instead because, hey, man, I just found a cheap Ethereum. I don't think people knew about that. Let me get some of that. In essence, pushing its price up as well. I mean, it shot up there. I was looking like, holy crap, man! It went up to $165. I think they said. Yeah, if my mouse would stay still. Anyway, yeah. So it's just amazing how that would happen. But as you notice, I think people are kind of catching on because the price is kind of correcting back down. Also, again, we'll talk about the Tesla guy. I don't even want to say his name, but having that whole little FUD Twitter storm, which for somebody on that level of genius, we know for a fact that he knows everything that he was tweeting about was not true. But and a lot of people, Anthony Pompliano was great. Raul Powell was great at calling him out on the actual agenda behind why he was doing that. So, for all you, what do you call it? Green people, I'm one of them. I save the planet. I love the planet. I'm all for clean energy and things like that. Just know that this is not a true argument behind the whole Bitcoin situation. I talked about that in to the fact that where I'm out of breath about it. But just know that in cryptocurrency market as a whole, it's not. Most of the energy is renewable, recycled energy is wasted energy. It's energy that nobody's willing to pay for anyway. So even if Bitcoin or any other crypto didn't utilize that energy, it's still going to be wasted. So it really didn't matter. It really didn't matter at all. But I want to find real quick in Allen stock. I'm going to show you guys that article so you can kind of see what I was talking about in regards to why I think Ethereum Classic price went up. So here we go. So this isn't the article that I found. This is an article. It basically says Ethan Allen stock is soaring as traders confuse its ticker with the identical one for Ether. So I was telling my girlfriend about this. I think I was telling my girlfriend about it. Hell, I might have been talking to one of my coworkers, but I don't know. But it's amazing that Robinhood has people confused in regards to investing in cryptocurrency because, truth be told, you don't buy shares of a cryptocurrency. You either buy the coin or you don't buy the coin. But Robinhood, apps like that, have people thinking that, you can buy shares of a particular cryptocurrency. And you can't. You buy shares in stock. You buy shares in a company. That's how that works. So when people saw, again, the Ethereum price really taking off, shooting from, hell, it was $2,000 something dollars and it shot up to like 4,500 in a couple of weeks. People were trying to FOMO in. And because of the fact that they use Robinhood, or they have no idea how the cryptocurrency trading works, they are using their other brokerage apps and they just type in ETH. They're like, oh, shoot, I can buy shares of ETH, not reading the symbol because it gives you the company name too that clearly says Ethan Allen. But they were just buying it anyway. Like the article that I saw, it was quoting people. And I want to find that article because that was just how funny it is. There it is. I found it. There we go. But it was quoting people that were saying how check it out. Look. So it says sideways for the next few days. Load up now. ETH sold everything for a 10K profit. Now parked in ETH till the next dip. Love it. ETH to the moon. Give us something to sit in when we get there. Here's the problem. They were buying Ethan Allen right there. It turns out that Ethan Allen shares his ticker symbol ETH, or shares his ticker symbol ETH with Ethereum, one of the most popular cryptocurrencies in the market right now, making investors jump into furniture company shares rather than one digital currency. This is where it's really important when they say do your own research. Do your own research. Understand what crypto is. Understand what the crypto market is. You can't buy shares in a cryptocurrency. I want to say it's impossible. You either buy the coin or you don't buy the coin. If you're buying shares, you're buying a paper asset. You're not taking. You'll never be able to take true ownership of that particular crypto. Meaning, you can only sell it for cash. You can only sell it in dollars. If the dollar crashes, what are you going to do? You got $1 trillion. Speaking of Zimbabwe, speaking of what's that freaking country that just had their whole currency go down the tube? One of the countries, Turkey was headed that way, but it's a South American country. I don't know, Venezuela. Speaking of Venezuela, you have $1 trillion worth of something, and all you can get is that currency, but nobody will take that currency. So you're screwed. You can't cash out for the actual cryptocurrency, which in turn you can swap for a acceptable currency, because as we all know, you can trade fiat, many types of fiat. They have a lot of different fiat trading pairs for the different cryptocurrencies. So, say the people in Venezuela, they can only exchange their crypto if they were buying it on an app similar to Robinhood. I'm just using it as an example right now. I don't know if Robinhood is even available to them, but I'm using it as an example. So say they, bought shares of Ethereum. Ethereum shoots through the roof. Now they have $1 trillion worth of Venezuelan peso that that's the only thing they can trade it out for. Well, who the hell is going to take it? Who's going to accept that currency that has crashed, that has collapsed, that is truly worthless? So guys, understand that when we talk about investing in cryptocurrency, invest in cryptocurrency. If all you want is a quick dollar, you're wasting your time. You may get a couple of quick dollars here and there, but in essence, you're wasting your time, especially using apps that don't allow you to take full custody of the coins. Not your keys, not your crypto. Always remember that. But I'm going to stop ranting. I really want to thank you guys for joining. I was going to do a Q&A, but we've kind of gone pretty long, and I haven't seen any hands being raised in the chat. So I'm not going to do a Q&A. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this particular session. Hopefully I gave you guys some really nice tidbits, some really nice gems, some really nice things to take away, so that it will continue to help you on your journey to learning more and more about cryptocurrency, learning more and more about how to invest. And as always, I want to thank you guys for joining. In the words of Russell Simmons, God bless you. Oh, I want to say it right. Thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night. Have a good one.